understand about the four models I already explained. So we are discussing about database models, database models, and the four database models what we learned. So four important. That is a conceptual model, and we have a physical model, and we have logical model, and entity model. These are the database models actually. And I told you the difference actually. What is difference between those models and how do we deal with them? Right? Yeah. So now we will see working with a specific database, understanding about the database. So difference between these models already I explained and you remembered them, right? So the final model for preparing database and tables, so is the entity model. It comprises of all the information. Now, how to create database, how do we configure database, and how to use the database for our applications. So we will see step by step, right? So first step, there are various databases and we are going to deal with MongoDB as database. MongoDB. We are going to learn this MongoDB. Actually, what is the purpose of MongoDB, how MongoDB works, and how it is different from other databases, we will see. Actually, the main purpose of database already we know, but how it is different from different databases and how we can use this in our applications. There are so many databases. You have Oracle, MySQL, SQL Server, so many databases are there. Why this is having more demand recently? I think majority of you people might have heard that even in the applications like Java, .NET, PHP, we are using the database. So we are using this database. So what is the main advantage? What are the main, what is the main concept of this database, right? Let's see. So what are the features of MongoDB and how it is different from other databases? Some advantages, features we will discuss. And there are some drawbacks also, we will see them. Actually, MongoDB, actually Mongo is a cloud service actually. Cloud service. Mongo is a cloud service. That means they have a lot of things. Mongo is a cloud service and this Mongo cloud service, they have a lot of things. So you know that cloud service means they provide various types of servers and applications and all. So Mongo is not just database. Mongo is a very big cloud service. You can see this is the Mongo. They provide a cloud service. So Mongo, yeah. You can see this is the official MongoDB. So this is official. This is Mongo, and it provides a complete cloud service. Actually, you see, Mongo have a cloud concept, and that means don't think that Mongo is just database. So they provide a lot of things. Out of that, they have database also. So we are using those databases, and you can see to build the data, to work with the data. What are the advantages with MongoDB? We will see. Actually, they have a complete cloud environment where you can register, you can use that cloud, but that is paid, not a free one. You have to pay for that. You can freely register. You see, try free option is there. So you can freely register and use free options. But Mongo provides paid service actually. You have to pay for what you are using. Just like Azure, AWS, Mongo is also a cloud service actually. But in that we are using database. So not entire cloud environment, we are using database. So what is advantage and how it is different? So let's see what are the advantages, what are the points about MongoDB. It's a cloud service. Mongo is a cloud service, and MongoDB is a database provided by cloud service, provided by Mongo Cloud Service. Mongo Cloud Service. It's a database provided by cloud service. Actually, MongoDB is designed to meet the demands of modern applications. Actually, MongoDB is designed to meet the demands of the modern applications. I will tell you some points. I will tell you what are those modern requirements, what are the advantages. So we will discuss about that. We will try to understand those points actually. Means generally, suppose you have an idea of existing databases. Like suppose, so you have Oracle like database, or MySQL like database, or a SQL server like database, SQL server like database. Generally, suppose we are creating a table. So it is a table for users registration. Actually, we have a registration form. In the registration form, so there are uh, 15 fields. So there are 15 fields. Out of that, so 8 are mandatory. Other are optional. Other 7 are optional. So we can ignore them. Then now as a database designer, you have to prepare a table for this form. So by using these databases, you need to design a table. Now, when you are designing a table, for how many fields we need to prepare a table? Tell me, for how many fields we need to prepare a table now? For how many fields we need to prepare a table? Tell me. Total number of fields are 15. Out of that, 8 are mandatory and other 7 are optional. Then for how many fields you will prepare? 15. So that means, for example, a user have filled only 8 fields. Then all other 7 fields are left empty, na? Am I right? Are left empty. Right. And another person can fill 9 fields, right? Another person can fill 9 fields. Now, when you are, that means, don't you think that memory is occupied for those fields also? Memory is occupied for those fields which is empty. Am I right? Not only that, suppose when you are querying, you are writing queries like select star from table. That means it is accessing all the fields. And he entered only 8 fields. Don't you think accessing all fields is a problem again? Now, can you create a database table? Can you create a database table in such a way that in that one row, that means row 1. So that means one row 1, row 1 can contain 8 fields, and you create another, means same table, another row can contain row 2, and it can contain some 10 fields. Can you create table like that? Can you create a table like that? One row contains 8 fields, another row contains 10 fields. So you cannot do that. Don't you think this is an issue? Am I right? Right. So this is a general thing. This is a general thing. This is one point. So MongoDB is a document-based database. It is a document-based database. Actually, MongoDB is open source. Open source. MongoDB is cross-platform. Cross-platform. No need to explain. Open source cross-platform means everybody knows. Am I right? Open source means you can customize according to your requirements. Cross-platform, am I right? Cross-platform means it can run on every operating system. You know that already. Actually, MongoDB, MongoDB is document-based database. Document-based database. So that means it is actually called as, so it is known as document data model. It is known as document data model. That means every row acts as a table. Every row acts as a table. That means every row is a document. Every row is a document. Every row acts as a table. That means one row can contain 10 fields, another row can contain 8 fields, another row can contain 9 fields. So that means it can contain different rows. Schemaless, actually. You can simply say that it is schemaless. So previously it is schema based. All other databases are schema based. Now it is schemaless. So that means the advantage of this is You can design a table in such a way that it can maintain different fields for every row. It can maintain different fields for every row, but all are present in one table only. That is the advantage of document database. Document database, right? That is the major advantage of having document database. So MongoDB is document database. Document database. And another important point about MongoDB is, so it is JavaScript based database. JavaScript based database. So that means it is non-SQL database. Non-SQL database. That means no more SQL queries. No more SQL queries. And I think you know that all databases use SQL queries. Oracle, MySQL, SQL Server, all these needs SQL queries. Here, no more SQL queries. Here, no more SQL queries. It is completely non-SQL database. It's JavaScript based database. That means you can use all JavaScript based commands to manipulate the data. That's very simple. You will feel like you are working with some JavaScript data. That means you can simply say that data is like JSON, JavaScript object notation. I think already you know what is JSON. Data is like JSON. You are dealing with like a JSON data directly. And what is the advantage of having the data directly? So it will give JSON type data means unified experience. Unified experience is nothing but so it allows to run anywhere. Unified experience allows to run anywhere. So that is anywhere means any device. So any operating system service. So across every location, it works in a same way. Because it maintains the data in a JSON. JSON is understandable to every operating system. Actually, MongoDB also uses distributed system design. Systems design actually. It uses distributed systems design. Distributed systems design advantage is, so you can index on any field. That means it provides an intelligent way to put the data where you want. That means you can put the data where you want. That is what actually the advantage of, so indexing. You can index on any field. Index on any field means, I will tell you, simple option I will tell you here. Suppose generally you might have learned Oracle or MySQL or SQL Server, or if you're not learned, no worry, just you know the concept. So actually, when you are preparing a table, so table have a primary key. Am I right? Table will have a primary key field. Suppose we have an ID, we have name, we have price. So we have some other option. So category. Suppose I need to update the record. I need to update any specific record. Then I think you have seen, you can update the record by using update. So we have to update. So the name, so we have to update the name. So we have to update the name, the price, and category. So where ID, that means is equal to some 1 or 2. You have to query on primary key field. Primary key field. Am I right? Am I right? You have to query on primary key field, right? Right. That means the key point here is, suppose I want to update the price. I want to update the price of products. So whose category is electronics? His category is electronics. So, or I need to update. So the name whose price is less than 1, with some character. That means it should not provide only the way to index based on ID, primary key. Every field should work like a primary key. Understood? Every field should work like a primary key. That means I can access based on price, I can access based on category, I can access based on name. That means we don't need a primary key. Without a primary key, we can index based on any specific primary key. Understood? So we need that advantage. We need that advantage. So that is what MongoDB can do. MongoDB can do. That means one of the main advantages of MongoDB, it can index on any property. That means MongoDB is easy. So it is fast, it is flexible, and it is versatile. That is what actually they say, versatile. Versatile means it supports a different types of queries to handle, not only just based on the primary key. So wide variety of data and queries can be handled. That is what actually the advantage of MongoDB. Another major advantage is MongoDB supports the features like availability, high availability. Because all these cloud-based options are highly available, high availability. What is high availability? I will tell you. High availability, scalability, and another important is maintainability. So we can simply say that portability. All these are the major features. So on the major features, high available, scalable, portable. With the cloud-based environments, with the specially cloud-based environments, these are all important. Cloud-based environment, high availability, scalability, portability, all these are the key things. We need to understand these options, right? So let's see what are these options. So that means generally you will come across with all these step by step. High availability is nothing but, for example, these are very common in cloud-based environments actually. Common in cloud-based environments. So usually how they are common in cloud-based environments, working with the cloud-based environments. Let's see. Actually, suppose we have a database, and in the memory, so actually it is hosted on a server. Now generally database is hosted on a database server actually. And now this database have the capacity to handle thousand requests per second. 1,000 requests per second. Just roughly, I'm telling you, it can handle 1,000 requests per second. So that means usually it can manage only 1,000 requests per second. So the point is, suppose we are developing a shopping application. In shopping application, suppose you given an offer, from some 10 a.m. to suppose some 4 p.m. like this. Now during this hours 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., because you given some 70% offer, then lot of people will try to access that and use it. That means try to interact with your application. That means load becomes very high. That means millions of people are now requesting. Now this database cannot handle all of them. This database cannot handle all of them. Obviously this happens. That's the reason you will observe that regularly during the offer times. Many times you are disconnected from the website. It says that please reload again. So it is unable to provide you the service immediately, right? You will see this regularly happening. Am I right? You will see this regularly happening, right? So this is a regular concept. This is a regular concept. That means one of the main point here is that is regular concept. That is a regular thing actually. That is a regular thing. Now the point here is, if the request is increased, that means number of requests is increased, and this database can clone the data. If it can clone the data, it can clone the data according to the number of requests. If it can clone the data, and it can provide the service, if it can provide the service to this, that looks great. That means what it will do is it can handle data replications. That means if number of requests are increased, then it will replicate the data. That means it will create duplicates of the same data, and those duplicates are given access to the users. This is intelligent. It is very intelligent. So in handling such type of interactions, this makes the data to handle large number of load coming to the application. So that means it can replicate the data. It can replicate the data. That's what actually the advantage of data. So technically it can handle that. That is what actually we say. That is what actually we say as a scalability. Portability, it can run anywhere. High availability is nothing but due to any technical reason. Suppose so this database is failed. That means it is not responding. Due to any technical reason, the data is not responding. Automatically, it will have a backup. From the backup, it can recover the data. And it can make the data available to you. Due to any technical reason, this data is corrupted and it is unable to provide you the service. Then automatically, so from the backup, it can recover and it can provide service. That means it is always available. So it is always available. This is what actually the technique. Generally, so we configure and we follow here. This is the technique we follow here. Actually, this is a cloud technique which is internally handled. So important is high availability, maintainability, scalability, portability, flexible, lightweight, faster, and run on any device, document-based, non-SQL, schemaless. These are all the advantages of MongoDB. But MongoDB has certain drawbacks. So that means some issues are there. So generally, what are the issues? Issues with the MongoDB. That means MongoDB have certain issues. So the major issue with MongoDB is it is an non-RDBMS. RDBMS. So that means it is non-RDBMS and it is schemaless, structureless. Due to that, what happens is problems in analysis, problems in analysis and reporting. That means where you need data predictions. Data predictions will be difficult to handle. Already I told you, data predictions means data science. I told you that the predictions of data is very much required in business. In an enterprise-based environment, so where you need lot of analysis and reporting and data predictions, then MongoDB is not great in that kind of scenario. Why? Because it is an non-RDBMS, it is schemaless. So then analysis and reporting becomes issues. So some issues are, that's the reason at an enterprise level. So if your work is mostly related to analysis and reporting and data predictions and all, then MongoDB doesn't fit there very well. That's the reason people have to go with Oracle or MySQL like data. So it's not great, right? It's not great for handling analysis and reporting. That means data science and all, data warehouse and all, right? These are all the major issues. So that is the reason you cannot say that MongoDB is better than anything else. It has certain advantages when compared to the other databases, but it depends on the requirement of the application. So the scale of the application, if they are dealing with the analysis and reporting like tools, so like options, then they have to think about using and working with the databases, right? So that means which database suits for them. Technically, these are the basic points. So what are the features? What are the drawbacks of MongoDB? So now, how do we install MongoDB? How do we check MongoDB? See, always performance is not, so it will be faster. When data comes with only what you need, it will be faster, right? But not having, it's not like it is not having a primary key. So I'm not saying that it is not having a primary key, right? I'm saying that it is having, every field acts as a primary key. I never said that it is not having a primary key. Am I right? That is what indexing is. So don't misunderstand with that concept. Don't think that there is no primary key. Okay. So I'm saying that every field can be used for indexing. Understood? Yeah. Obviously, it will be faster. When compared to the previous SQL-based databases. And it is lightweight because it provides the data in a JSON format, and it's a JSON data document. It's more lightweight and it is more compatible with any environment services, right? Yeah. Now, how do we install? How do we work with the MongoDB? It's very simple. I will show you the setup. Actually, we will learn command-based environment. Actually, MongoDB provides a complete IDE, integrated environment. So from where you can build and create and work with database. But better we will see command-based environment. So how do we set up and install? So let's see, set up and install MongoDB on your computer. It's very simple to set up and install MongoDB on your computer. You have to visit the official website of MongoDB. In the official MongoDB website, so you have to go to this direct link I will give you. You have to download this MongoDB server actually. MongoDB general database server is enough for us. So cloud server is enough for us. Uh, so go to the software. I will give a direct link here. There is a GUI tool. We don't need this GUI tool. We just will give community server. This link. So that means you have to download from here. You have to download. So let's copy this link here. So visit the following link. So visit the following. Directly, I am giving you that link in the note. Yeah. And here, so you need to, for which operating system, you can select your relative operating system and you can download system. So for which operating system you can choose and you can download for your operating system. So that is the operating system, right? So directly here, if you are using Windows, you can download a zip or a MSI file, just like Node.js. I told you MSI is good because MSI will give you the setup for step-by-step wizard. It is easy for installing this. So you download this MongoDB, so community. So this is for your operating system. So what you have to do is download the .msi. So for your Windows or Windows for any, or you can download for any operating system, any OS operating system, and install on your PC. You have to install on your PC. Once you install that, so and the latest version is install on your PC. The latest version is download. So latest available version. Currently we have 4.3. That is the latest available version there. So 4.4, yeah. So we can get that 4.4.4. That is the available version. You can download this available version. And once you install that, I will show you how we can install this and how we can run this. Once you install this on your PC, now we need to learn how to start with it actually. How do we start with this? So let's select and accept the terms. It's just a wizard, and select the complete version to install. Okay. No need to install this Compass. It asks you to install MongoDB Compass. You don't select this Compass. It is for GUI. It is a GUI for MongoDB. It's an official graphical user interface for MongoDB. That means you can open the graphical interface. There you can create database, you can delete database and all. Even you install, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But we will not use this Compass. We will not use this Compass. Even you select it, it doesn't matter. So because we are not going to use that Compass, just overview I will give you how to use it. But without Compass or with Compass, commands only we will learn. because GUI anybody can deal. So once I showed you one day approach how to handle the GUI, it can do it. Yeah, once it is installed. So here, I will just give an. You can use Compass GUI tool for MongoDB. You can use Compass. You can install, right? You can install. So, but it is optional. So optional, not required. So to install. So once the MongoDB is installed, now we need to learn how do we start Mongo server, MongoDB, how it works actually. The basic architecture of database, I will tell you. The basic architecture of any database, uh, any database management system, you should know one important point. For example, you are using Oracle. I will just ask you one simple question: Oracle or SQL Server or MySQL, something like this databases. When generally, when you open Oracle on your computer, you will get a login screen. In that login screen, it will ask user ID. So username, it will ask password. So generally, the username and the password. So for Oracle, what is the username? Username we have like Scott. Am I right? Yeah. And the password is like some tiger. Am I right? Just basically, I'm telling you that point. If everybody knows that username is Scott and password is tiger, why you need a login screen? Can you tell me that? Why a login screen comes for a database? For MySQL, for Oracle or SQL Server, a login screen comes. Why a login screen comes? Usually, if you already know database, if you don't know database, no worry, leave it. But if you already know database, what is authorization? Everybody knows that password is tiger, na? Then is it security? Do you think it is security? Everybody knows it's Scott and tiger, na? Right? Actually, the login screen comes means don't think that always it is security. The concept of this screen is nothing but what happens is generally, usually what happens is we will have a client, client, and we will have a server. We usually have a client and server. We will have client and server. This is database server. Actually, the data is stored here. Data is present in database server. So data is stored in database server. So that means your database is present here. Now we don't directly work on this server. From client, we have to connect to server. And access the connection and use that here. That means you are working with the database. On client, but the database is present on server. Understood the environment? I hope everyone understood. That means currently both client and server are present in same computer for you. Understood? Both client and this server, right? Both are present on the same computer. For you. both are present on the same computer for you. So that means using the server and you are using the client. Both are present, but actually server is present in a different location and client will be from different location. So our developers are working on development server and database is present on database server. Now what we have to do is we need to connect to that database server and access the database from the database server. For that connection, server asks who are you and where you want to connect. And for that, server will send you a login screen. Understood? A login screen is given to client in order to connect to database. Understood? In order to connect to database server so that he can access and interact with the database present on database server. A login screen is sent by the server to the client so that client can tell where he wants to log in. Understood? And he can connect it to the, so login screen is provided to the client to connect with the database server. So database is present on database server. We connect to the database server and interact. That means you need two environments for working with database: client environment, server environment. Data is present in server and we access the data and work with the data on client. Everyone understood? That means every database requires two environments: server environment, client environment. Server environment is the location where your data is present. Client environment is the location where you work with the data. You will not work with the data directly on server environment. Understood? So that is the reason every database provides two environments for you: client environment and server environment. So that is the reason you open SQL Server, MySQL, Oracle, it will ask you to connect to the server. You need to connect to the server, right? Yes. You see, this is MongoDB. This is MongoDB Gui 2. This is the MongoDB Gui 2. Graphical interface. This is not required for us. So this is not required for us. So just we can handle because here it is showing everything here, what it can do, what it can manage, everything is displayed here. This is a GUI tool. So we can start using this and analysis, reporting, everything is provided here. Everything is provided here. So we don't need that actually. So once your installation is completed, so once the installation is completed successful, once it is successful, then you can work with it. Once the installation is successful, so that means it is finished and you need to restart your computer. And once you restart, then you need to log in and work with the server and client environment. Server and client environment. I need to restart that machine. I will do it later. So installing and configuring. Installing up to this is fine. After installing, once installation is completed, now we need to understand the server. So MongoDB server, and MongoDB client. We need to understand MongoDB client environments, server environment, client environment. Once we know that, then we can start working with the database, creating database tables, relations, and all this. That we will see in tomorrow's session. Okay. So tomorrow we will start working with database practically now. You just install and keep it ready. Tomorrow we are going to work with it. Okay, na? So tomorrow we will start working with that. Tomorrow practically we will see. This notes and everything I will upload. Tomorrow we will start building, learning and working with the database. Now, all the options about database we will see.